Hello, it's been a while since I last did a video. Jeez, 2, 3 months. The things I was working on before then, it was like a bunch of like self-portraits and whatnot. And it was just kind of clunky and experimental and clumsy. And in the past few months, I've done a lot of sketches and studies, and I've been playing around with like different brushes and blending and whatnot. And I feel like I've kind of gotten a feel for things better. I played around with Clip Studio Paint for a while. I took a break from Krita, which is my usual program, and I went to Clip Studio Paint for a time, as long as their free trial lasted, and that kind of was like a fresh look at digital art in general. Just switching programs. It's kind of like using a new paintbrush or brand of whatever material. I didn't end up buying it, but when I went back to Krita, I felt reinvigorated in a way. And so ever since then, I've really knuckled down. I think I've kind of gotten a feel for things. So this is a study of a Nan Goldin photograph that I started a couple days ago. I love Nan Goldin. She's one of my favorite photographers. I love her figurative work of people. I think she captures the human body really well. And she always comes up with these just amazing compositions that they're like domestic and kind of slice of life, but also they're like theatrical too, and they feel like film stills almost, but it's like a film still of like just some ordinary person's life, and I think the emotion behind that is really neat, as well as the compositional quality. So I love her stuff. She's my go-to when I want to just do a quick figure, and I want like a strong composition and lots of cool values and such. It's not just a boring figure drawing, 101 kind of textbook thing. So anyway, I worked on it a lot, and this video is about me doing this hand and the mirror, the reflection of the hand. Um, yeah, so this first clip is just me kind of sketching it out. Um, Something new I did with this study specifically was I worked on one layer the whole entire time. So from initial sketch to what is on the screen now, that's all one single layer, you know, uh, which is, kind of scary and feels unnatural because a lot of the time, digital artists, they work on different layers. That's the draw of digital art, so you can separate things out. But me personally, I enjoy emulating traditional art, digitally. And if not, I mean, I'm not talented enough yet to do that, like literally, visually, but process-wise, I enjoy it. And just because that's what I'm used to, and I'm kind of old-fashioned, and it feels right to me. And so part of that is having material to work off of and build up from like a ground. So that ended up being useful with this hand because I could, just lift from all the values that had already been put down and things like that. But I'll go more into it when that becomes, apparent and watchable. Um, yeah, something that I, reflected on while doing this hand was um, mistakes, I guess, and, decision making. Like, for example, if you look at the reference, at the leftmost knuckle, if you follow that down, there's like a slight highlight, which I tried putting in here. And I think that's the highlight is the middle finger, and the index finger is kind of hiding behind it. But it's so faint in the reference that you can barely tell. I'm just staring at it, so closely that I can notice it. The viewer probably couldn't notice it, and uh, I tried putting it in, it didn't really work. It like kind of like disrupted the flow, and it was too nitpicky. But it's there in reality, you know. So, but I omitted it. I decided to omit it, you know, for the sake of flow and whatnot. And so, you know, it's, you know, the back and forth between, you know, choosing what to put in and what to leave out. Uh, 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 a drawing can be realistic, you know, in the rendering, but abstraction comes into play when on how you know decide to edit things and fine tune it, and you know this like finger is there in reality, but in the drawing it's not because I chose to leave it out. So is that abstraction? Is that, you know, being lazy? Who's to say? But yeah, here was like, oh fuck, a moment for me. I realized that the fingers were like way too straight. In the reference, they're bent. It's like triangular, and in my drawing, it was like just a straight line. I got so caught up in like the knuckles because I love the knuckles, and also probably my angle working downward that didn't really help me see clearly. So I went, you know, at a way too modest of an angle. So this is me trying to fix it, and again, having one layer, one ground to work off of, it helps to just be able to smudge everything out. If I was working in different layers, like say, you know, mid-tone, highlight, shadow, or you know, lines and shading, you know, whatever, like that kind of layers. If one decision was divorced from the previous ones, then they wouldn't flow together well, and I couldn't, you know, keep that kind of process going. It's good in that it helps me like adjust things better and, you know, work around things and kind of just smush it all into something that looks passable. But it also means that, like, you know, my mistakes have a ripple effect and consequences, and I can't, you know, really separate them out from the rest of the piece unless, you know, I press the magic Control Z. So anyway, I kind of half-assed, you know, fixing the finger, and then to like push that shape more to like make it less flat, I decided to add some definition to the heel of the hand and like the palm, and the thumb joint is hiding somewhere in that black square. I also decided to bring up the shoulder, which I probably still need to bring it up like way more because the negative space between the hand and the shoulder highlight there is way too big. I also noticed the silhouette of that negative space almost exactly mirrors the the whole shoulder bit. And having two shapes that pretty much match right on top of one another, that's not great. You know, like it's like it's stacked, and it it kind of tricks the eye. If there's two squares together, I mean, you know, and you squint a little bit, and they're kind of similar colors, like pretty much in value and stuff. It you know, your eyes are gonna think, oh, that's a rectangle, because that's just how like, you know, visuals work. If they're two alike, you can't really tell them apart. And so with this negative space in the shoulder issue I was having, it all just becomes one big blob. And you know, you can fix that with the value. Um, if I really pushed that highlight on top of the shoulder and made it like stark white against that gray, that would probably help. But still, the shading underneath that highlight, it drops down so much that, you know, that won't really help. So I'll have to break up that space when I come back at this next. This is me just adding some values. And again, you know, in terms of abstraction and decision making, the the shadows that cut into the tips of the finger, that like round out the tips of the finger, it's pretty shapely in the reference in the photograph. But here in this drawing, I just kind of was like, okay, that's just gonna melt right into the hair. Partly because I couldn't be bothered, and partly because that's just what I wanted to do, you know? I really wanted to focus on values in this piece because I kind of fall into the habit of staying too close to like the middle ground, like mid tones. I don't really, veer out into strong highlights and strong shadows, and so I was trying to do that more in this piece. Um, but yeah, this was a really fun bit to do. I also noticed that the hand in this, an arm in this mirror, became a lot more developed and rendered than the actual figure, like in reality. And there's all like the black around it and stuff, so who knows? Maybe it's like some subconscious kind of like inner self thing, you know? I don't really apply like meaning or concepts or whatever to my stuff. I just draw first and go through my process, and whatever happens during that process, I let it speak for itself, you know? I just kind of draw and go based off my gut and how I feel and what I think is right. And whatever thoughts or emotions that ends up creating, I mean, none of that is intentional. And so the end result and what it means, that's as much of a discovery and surprise to me as it is to, the viewer. So it's all fun. I don't go in with ideas, I just go in with drawings, and the ideas come after. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this so far. It's one of the better studies I've done in a while, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Here's to hoping I won't mess it up. I'm trying to teach myself how to stop and not go for marathons and instead go for short little sprints like this. And it's proven to be pretty cool. So yeah, that's all for the most part. Um, I'll try to make another video later. Oh, I'll probably do like a quick sketch compared to like this final bit where I am now, if I can figure out how to do that in my editing software. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my ramble. Alright, peace out.